cook, cashier, waiter, delivery person, factory worker, nurse, doctor, electrician, mechanic, engineer. What does she do? Who is she? Where does she work? What does he do? Who is he? Where does he work? What does she do? Who is she? Where does she work? Not working. Out of work. Unemployed. This person is a student. What does this person want to be? Cook, cashier, waiter, delivery person, factory worker, nurse, doctor, electrician, mechanic, engineer. What does he do? He came to the United States 10 years ago. He works on computers to design other computers. What does he do? Engineer. What does he do? He spends all day instructing children in math, English, and science. He assigns homework. What does he do? Teacher. Let's look at how to read some job ads online. But before we do, let's talk about the EEOC. The EEOC establishes certain rules and guidelines in the United States for how employers can treat their employees. Be aware of English-only rules. Many of these rules are not allowed according to the EEOC. The EEOC has stated that the rules requiring employees to speak only English in the workplace violate the law, which means against the law, unless the employer can show that they are justified and necessary. A rule requiring employees to speak only English in the workplace at all times, including breaks and lunchtime, will rarely be justified. An English-only rule should be limited to the circumstances in which it is needed for the employer to operate safely or efficiently. For example, circumstances in which an English-only rule may be justified include communications with customers or fellow employees, to help promote safety, or to help when there is an emergency situation. Even if there is a need for an English-only rule, an employer may not take disciplinary action against the employee for violating the rule unless the employer has notified workers about the rule and the consequences of violating it. So basically, you cannot be punished for speaking in a language other than English unless your employer told you before that it was not allowed due to safety, emergencies, or being able to communicate with customers or fellow employees if they can only speak English. Please visit the EEOC website for better and more information and guidelines. Here is a Subway job ad. Is this job part-time? What education does this job require? Does this job require English? What is this job? Is this job part-time? What education does this job require? Does this job require English? What is the job? Is this job part-time? What education does this job require? Does this job require English? What is this job? Is this job part-time? What education does this job require? Does this job require English? What is this job? Before you apply for a job, and especially before you interview, make sure you review the information about the company. On each company's website, there is a section called About Us. Be sure to read About Us before the interview. You should know what the company's values are, what the company's goals are, and different ways to describe the company before the interview. What does this place do? What do you think the employees do every day? Would you like to work here? Use the following videos to practice a job interview.
Tell me a little about yourself. What are your biggest weaknesses? What are your biggest strengths? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Describe your dream job. Tell me about the last time a coworker or customer got angry with you. What happened? Why do you want to leave your current job? Tell me about a time you disagreed with a decision. What did you do?
So how did you hear about the opening? Why do you want to work this job? Why do you want to work for this company?
Here are a few resources that we recommend to succeed at your interview. On YouTube, Rachel's English, How to Interview for a Job in American English. On Hoopla, which is the public library's database that you can get for free with a public library card, How to Ace the Interview. At the library, we have a book called Power Phrases for a Successful Interview. Over 400 ready-to-use words and phrases that will get you the job you want. So these are words that employers like to hear. Other questions include asking about your experience. Have you ever worked at a restaurant before? Have you ever worked with children before? Who was your manager? These questions are good to answer if you have no experience. You can tell the employer that you have not worked with children or at a restaurant, but you are willing to learn or try new things. So if they ask you a question that you have not done before, it's okay to say, I have not done that before, but I am willing to learn. Some questions are not allowed in the United States. These types of questions may lead to discrimination or unfairly treating someone based on their religion, race, ethnicity, or status. Employers cannot ask you, are you a citizen? They can ask, are you legally allowed to work in the United States? Employers are not allowed to ask, what is your religion? They can't ask you about your family to determine if you should be hired, such as marriage or if you have children. Other topics they are not allowed to ask about are questions about your nationality, your age, gender, income, race, or anything like that. They can ask you about your education. They are not allowed to ask you, are you disabled? They can ask, do you require reasonable accommodations to perform your duties? Reasonable accommodations means changes the employer or employee can make for employees who have certain needs. For example, if an employee cannot see very well, but the job requires computer work, a reasonable accommodation would be to provide a computer screen reader. If a job requires climbing ladders to get to the top of electricity poles, it is unreasonable to expect an employer to remove this duty from the job to accommodate if the employee is unable to climb ladders. After the interview, it is important for you to ask questions. 1, it shows you have a very strong interest in the job. And 2, it helps you know what is expected. How much does this job pay? Does the schedule change, or does it stay the same? What are the benefits? Why do you like working here? Is there room for advancement? Advancement means becoming a manager, becoming a leader. How much does this job pay? Does the schedule change or stay the same? What are the benefits? Why do you like working here? Is there room for advancement? Let's watch the interview videos again.
Tell me a little about yourself. What are your biggest weaknesses?
What are your biggest weaknesses? Is this past or present? Which answer is correct? 1, I enjoy talking too much. 2, I enjoyed talking.
What are your biggest strengths?
What are your biggest strengths? Is this past or present? Which answer is correct? 1, I am a fast learner. 2, I was a fast learner.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Which tense should this be?
So how did you hear about the opening?
How did you hear about this opening? Is this past or present? Which answer is correct? 1, I hear about it from the newspaper. 2, I heard about it from the newspaper.
Why do you want to work this job?
Why do you want this job? Is this past or present? Which answer is correct? 1, the job is great. 2, the job was great.
Why do you want to work for this company?
Why do you want to work for this company? Is this past or present? Which answer is correct? The company is great. 2, the company was great.
Describe your dream job.
Describe your dream job. Which tense is this question?
Tell me about the last time a coworker or customer got angry with you. What happened?
Tell me about the last time a coworker or customer got angry with you. What happened? Is this past or present? Which answer is correct? I was or I am.
Why do you want to leave your current job?
Why do you want to leave your current job? Is this past or present? Which answer is correct? 1, there is, or 2, there was.
Tell me about a time you disagreed with a decision. What did you do?
Tell me about a time you disagreed with a decision. What did you do? Is this past or present? Which answer is correct? The company is great, or 2, the company was great. I used to be a student. I used to work in a pet store. I used to drink tea. Used to is the past tense. In American English, when you hear the phrase used to, it means an activity or talent that the person did but does not anymore. I used to be a student. I used to work in a pet store. I used to drink tea. What did you used to do that you no longer do?